Boys, it's all good in the world. Fermin Lopez is staying at Barcelona for at least another season. I'm happy about it. As we know, I've talked about why I really like him in the future in past videos, and you guys have been crap talking Danny Olmo after the last performance, probably rightly so. But we know he's staying. He's going to be a Barcelona player for the rest of this season, hopefully for the entirety of the season. God knows what happens in the middle of the summer or in the middle of the transfer window, how registrations will be, yada, 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 constantly. We have no idea what's going on. But we know that Fermin's going to stay. He just came out with an interview with Mundo Deportivo, basically saying that it's always been Barca for me. I've always wanted to stay here. He did get into kind of saying that you never know with football. You never know what's going to happen, where you're going to be. But for now, he's a Barcelona player. He wants to be here. He wants to be with us. That's huge for me. I also think we need him desperately. Just seeing Danny Olmo not necessarily click. I'm not blaming him for that whole match. Like, yeah, he did miss that one terrible chance in it. I think he was bad. But it's not like it was just his fault that we didn't play well. Rayo were better than us, and you can't just throw that on one player. It's a lot more. It could be structural. You could look at Hansi for it. You could look at them maybe not following what he asked of them. We could speculate forever. I'm not a tactical nonsense brain. Okay, we're just watching football with our eyes. Okay, and who knows? I'm just happy to have the depth of Fermin there and to have the potential that he has. I think to let him go for even 50 to 70 million, it would have felt better if we got a decent price for him than letting him go for 40. Like I think they could have in years past with sales going, kind of giving people deals or something like that. I could see it happening with the financial situation we're in. Thankfully that didn't happen, but even if we got a good fee for him, I wouldn't have felt great about it because I know this kid's future. It could be really, really bright. And under Hansi Flick at least, or at Barcelona, I think he could be incredible, and we need that. And so just the simple fact that we need depth there, as well as his potential, his off-the-ball intensity, his long shots, his interplay with Lamine. He works really well with Lamine, one of the best, honestly, in this team with the kid. I think it's desperately needed, especially when the team isn't playing well, especially when we just lost Inigo Martinez, who already was a big, strong heart of the team, a very important piece of the team. He was to lose another guy like that in Fermin, and yes, it would be tough. And I know there's been some yada talk about issues with Gavi and their girlfriends getting in fights, and I don't know. I see some speculation on Twitter like that's the leading decision makers, and even if they're like terrible friends, I can't imagine making a major career move based on that. But also, God, I'm not in that position. Who knows what I would have done, what it's actually like. But I would be very sad for especially that to be the reason why it doesn't really make sense. And I feel like especially that relationship drama between two guys who, let's be honest, they're young. Who knows how long these girls will last. Like, hey, I don't want to speculate and like hope badly on their relationships. That's not the point of this, but I think your career and your relationships with your teammates that is directly related to your career are probably going to fight through whatever issues they're going through. And so hopefully they can work through whatever the nonsense this is. I don't think hopefully it's not that big of a deal, but I don't know. Who knows with this team, right? But having that depth there, I think is really important. And it is really what I wanted to focus on today, because seeing how unimpressive they were against Rayo and realistically how they have been in the past 3 games, though it is okay to kind of step back, take a more just larger look at the whole situation and be like, yeah, we played 3 away games that, yeah, they're lower tier sides, but they are all very difficult away stands to go to, and to walk out with 7 and 9 points isn't that bad. Obviously not what you want while Athletic Club and Real Madrid run away with 9 points at the same period of time, but it is realistically okay for Barcelona to drop points. Real Madrid is not going to have an invincible season, even though they did drop points a lot during the invincible season. I think they drew like 14 times throughout the entire year across all competitions or something like that. Something wild. That's not besides the point here. It's just, I don't know. I don't know what the solution is here for the team, but losing a guy like Fermin Lopez there would have been terrible. Would have been absolutely terrible. And I think he really should start the next match. Obviously, we do have the international break and everything, and so Hansi has time to shore everything up and try and solve some problems, maybe get some solutions to whatever is going on, whatever, maybe making it difficult for them to play or the defensive setup to be all weird. Like, I really don't think, I don't think Eric Garcia is a permanent center back. It's kind of weird to me that it happened at all, that he was there at all. But Hansi's trying new things, trying to figure out, trying to find an answer to something. We're definitely going to need an Araujo against Newcastle, and we're going to need a strong defensive setup because that's going to be they're going to line up differently. They're going to treat us terribly on set pieces because they have 6'6" Voltamade or whatever his last name is, the German guy, and then they have Burns, who is massive as well. A lot of size there, a lot of technical ability, but also intensity in the midfield with Tonali, Bruno Guimaraes, and the other guy I forgot for some reason. There's a lot of quality in that team. There's a lot of time for them to interrupt us. And so having Fermin there, having him probably can kind of match that intensity, I think, and give Barcelona a little bit of that Premier League hunger that we've gotten so used to playing. I really think Fermin's kind of very Premier League coded. So I'm not surprised that Chelsea's going after him, though. Chelsea acts differently than every other club I've ever seen because they're buying everybody for no reason. They can sell it to themselves like they did with Ben Chilwell to, I don't know if it was to Strasbourg or whoever the hell, whatever. It doesn't matter. The point is, Fermin Lopez, I think, could be really key in the next few games against Getafe too, after Newcastle, whatever it is, whatever game it is. I really think this is Fermin Lopez's year to prove something to fans, to Hansi, to himself, or to Barcelona leadership, because I think he might leave at the end of the season if he doesn't get more minutes, doesn't, supplant himself or plant himself into the starting 11 or into a more impressive role for this team. I've made a video about it and I might edit it and post it on the main channel. I probably will, but I'm still working with the whole idea of it because I wrote it before this whole Fermin leaving saga started. I think the point is he hadn't played more minutes or played about the exact same minutes between his first year under Xavi to his first year under Flick. Nothing really changed. He didn't become more important of a player in his team, mostly because Dani Olmo was re-signed and Fermin did get injured for a little bit. But you want to see progression as a player. You want to be more important in a team, I would assume, especially for someone like Fermin, where there's a lot of potential there. There's also, I think, a lot of hunger to do really well. There's a lot of Barca love. He's a huge culé too, which I think is substantial to not just playing well at Barcelona, but also remaining at Barcelona and succeeding there. But main point is you want to see your career develop and be more important over time as you get closer to your prime. That's something like Araujo. It's kind of been the exact opposite of him, where he's become important, then not important, then important and not important. But Fermin probably wants to avoid that, probably wants to be that guy. And I think he can be. Dani Olmo's, I think, like 27. He's older than Fermin by a considerable margin. And so if there are continually questions being asked and he's not really showing us the 60 million euro player that we paid for, or even if he is playing well, but not good enough, like we saw against Rayo Vallecano, where just missing those chances like that in games like that, you can't do that. You just can't do that, especially when you have a guy like Fermin Lopez right behind you, ready to take that position, ready to take those shots in the same way, but better, and win your team matches. You can't be missing those chances, and having Fermin there not only puts pressure on Dani, which I think is good, it pushes Dani to be even better, but it also gives us the opportunity to say, hey, Dani, no more time for you. Fermin Lopez, just be the starter in whatever game you see fit. He scored against Real Madrid. He played in massive games. He did great things last season, and I think he can do the same this season. He can be the starter at that number 10 position. We've seen also that there were some rumors that Rafinha might be that number 10. I talked about that too because it kind of made sense bringing in this left winger, like they were chasing Nico Williams or Rashford, and the idea of bringing in a top left winger would have been that Rafinha's still going to get minutes, right? That means they're going to try and find a different spot, and inherently that next spot is the number 10. That's not going to happen, at least not yet. We've seen that tested out, and it just didn't look good. They just don't connect well. Rafinha's not used to that position. He's used to finding space in positions where left wingers don't normally find space, if that makes sense, but not operate that middle role by himself like he would be with a number 10 as a number 10 kind of. It just changes the space you're in just slightly, and it makes it more difficult. And when the entire team isn't playing that great, it's really hard to experiment like that. It's really, really difficult. And so obviously, Hansi Flick is going to have a tough time dealing with all this stuff and feeling out what works. But having Fermin there, having Fermin be a reliable number 10, which I think he's definitely developed into for me over time. Before last season, he was a little bit in and out. Sometimes he would be great. Other times he would kind of ghost in games, but he's become more and more apparent every time he does play, which I'm very happy to see. And I think with that, can give us a little bit more solidity, right? Let Rafinha play on his left side where he is more comfortable and, rotate with Lamine or double team that right side with Lamine every once in a while, do whatever he wants to do. And with the strikers being constantly rotated, we're not sure what form Lewandowski's in. He's barely getting to play. Ferran Torres is, a little hit or miss, guys. I'm still on the fence about it. I don't love it. Sometimes he looks great. Other times it's like, fill space a little bit better or do this, do that. It's really easy to scapegoat him, but also he's not giving us a ton to love right now. And having a more reliable player there, I think, can really help us step into the season a little bit easier and warm into this new squad that is without Inigo Martinez, is a little shaky at the back. Koundé looks not on form in the way he did all of last season. And yes, he played a ton of football. It's okay if he's got a knock or whatever, he's not in form, but it is just the situation that we're in. Balde looks pretty good, but Rashford doesn't look great either. And so having a little bit more solidity, having a little bit of certainty, and just, maintaining something that we had is really important. And so I'm really happy for Mina staying, in case that wasn't absurdly obvious so far. I might still make a video on the main channel about it. Also, I did make a video on the Camp Nou. I posted on the main channel yesterday, and I woke up to some fair people pointing out that it was kind of just a rant. It wasn't necessarily like I talked, like I showed some points, and I realized when I was editing it, I did kind of force it out to get it out as soon as possible. And that meant I left a lot of the numbers that I had actually recorded myself talking about out of it. And so it just doesn't make sense. And then the Camp Nou just opened up yesterday or this morning, came official that we're going to return to the Camp Nou. So I took it down. It wasn't the most convenient, timely, and I did miss the edit. I wasn't that happy with what I ended up putting out, but I just thought I had to get it out. Realistically, I wasn't that happy with it, so I took it down. I don't think I was wrong. I think I'm right to be absolutely upset with the way it's gone down. I think it has been managed incorrectly. I also think it's been unfortunate. I didn't really blame just Laporta or anything like that. I just kind of just am upset about the situation. I think it's actually hurt Barcelona and forced us more into this unable to buy players or register players. But I could also say that in 20 seconds like I just did there instead of a 12-minute YouTube video. So I took it down because it didn't really make that much sense. And honestly, I want to be a little bit more positive or talk a little bit differently than I did in that video. That's the point. Thank you guys for watching, and I'll see you next on the main channel, or whatever video I upload next. I'll see you then. Peace.